Dear student, welcome to the next conduct class. A certificate policing semester 2, investigative principles 1B, conduct class for 2019. Your tutor Tati Shikongo. The scope, the introduction, aim of the conduct class, the structure, examination, paper and assessment, course outline and the scope, and the conclusion in the end. A big background of my introduction, Tati Shikongo, the qualifications, my former employers and the current employer. The aim of the conduct class is to prepare or make preparation for August 2019 examination best possible way, possible change to do well in your exam is to provide a framework for the preparation, a continuous assessment, calculation marks, question paper structured, mark allocation, the questions level, difficulty and verb levels, continuous assessment calculation mark. I'll skip this one. You can read for yourself. You can read the information for yourself. The structure examination, you can read for yourself. Structure examination paper, you can read for yourself. 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 Now, we start with the course outline scope. Feedback to complainants about cases and preparation of preparing witnesses to give evidence in court. We have details on note handed to the complainant. One way of doing that is keeping the complainant positive, is to hand him or her a note with details of the case. On such note must appear the name of the station, the case register number and the telephone number of the police station. Effective police treatment of victims complainants to maintain a positive image. Number one, the police are mandated, as in the Police Act of 1990, to investigate crimes or alleged crimes. Investigation of a crime became important when the normal crime prevention measures are not effective and criminals are not arrested immediately after crimes are committed. The low tracing rate of suspects has a negative impact on the negative image of the police amongst the community. Effective investigation and positive attitude of investigators could influence the view of the community positively. A positive and regular feedback to the community could change the negative view of the community. The effective of police treatment continue. Measure and actions. Normally the investigations into a matter start after a crime has been committed, with the purpose to restore trust by means of effective investigation techniques. Investigators are normally not involved in the crime prevention, but well, with a proper attitude and good communication with complainants, they can influence the attitude of the community. Positive and good communication with community start when the case is opened. To testify in court has an emotional impact on a witness. The possible reasons are: everybody has a natural fear of the unknown and being treated with hostility. Nervous and unsure of themselves when giving evidence for the first time in court. Nervous about being cross-examination. Fear reprisal from the person they are giving evidence against because they fear the person will come after him or her family. Feedback to complainant about cases and preparing a witness to give evidence in court. Seeing the offenders again may intimidate or influence the quality of the evidence furnished by the witness. This may result in the witness breaking down. All witnesses are emotionally touched when testifying. They have a real life something that has happened sometimes years ago, which makes them having to remember emotional trauma. Things they have most probably would have liked to have put behind them by now are coming forward. Then we have phases of examination. Examination in chief. This is the first phase of examination that starts after oath is taken. During this phase, the witness will testify on his or her involvement as a witness in the case. The prosecutor is supporting the witness's work and will use the statement by him or her to formulate questions. The purpose of examination in chief is to tell the court what the witness have seen the day the crime was committed. The second phase is cross-examination. During this phase, the purpose of the cross-examination is to clarify points that come out during the evidence in chief and test the correctness of the evidence. During this phase, the reliability of evidence and all the facts under dispute should be tested. Any witness can be subjected to cross-examination. No provocative question should be posted. The third phase of examination is re-examination. During this phase, the party examines his or her own witness against to clarify points that come up during the cross-examination. Because it might damage the case of the party, it can only take place if there were no cross-examination. Limited to the fact that came to the fore during cross-examination. Now, difference between identification and individualization. The first one, identification, it is of lesser value than the concept of individualization because it only identifies the object to a specific class or group. Individualization means the forensic scientist will continue with their analysis to determine if a particular sample is unique, even amongst other members of the same class. Comparison is drawn with another and is used to establish that a dispute sample, when compared, is from the same origin. For example, a fingerprint found at the crime scene can be placed into a group. For example, it is a wall or a loop and identification. If a fingerprint is so identified is individualized to one unique person, we talk of individualization. Individualization adds significant value to the concept of identification, since one can individualize a person or an object to identify the origin of the physical evidence found. Identification and individualization, there are different categories of identification, namely situation identification, witness identification, victim identification, imprint identification, culprit identification, origin identification, and action identification. Now, the purpose of the crime scene reconstruction. First, crime scene reconstruction is the investigation to attempt to determine the sequence of events that constitute the crime. It is therefore the endeavor of all the role players to draw a picture of what has or may have happened. It involves a combination of different things such as objects and persons. The way to accomplish this goal is to collect as much evidence as possible from the scene and suspect. The purpose of the crime scene reconstruction. 2. Often the crime scene officer won't know which piece of evidence will be the key until you have all the pieces. One of the keys to dealing with evidence in the understanding of available technology is and knowing the own limits of the crime scene officer. While some evidence can be processed at the crime scene, others evidence need to be processed at your local or state crime lab. For instance, the crime scene officer can use blue steel or luminol at the crime scene to detect blood and other body fluids, but a lab expert need to test the samples. The purpose of the crime scene reconstruction. Number 3. The same is true with fingerprints. The crime scene officer can dust and lift for prints, but need hydrant is used back at the laboratory. There are many aids available to assist in the reconstruction. Crime scene reconstruction consists of the following venues of event determination: the crime lab, the crime scene analysis, verbal testimony versus physical evidence, physical reconstruction, and mental reconstruction. Now, the purpose of crime scene reconstruction. Number 4. When reconstruction is being done, it is important to pose a major question and what minor questions need to be answered before the major or ultimate questions is answered. These questions must be posed correctly in order to achieve the goal or a correct crime scene reconstruction. The major question might be, is it a suicide or is it a murder? With some of the following minor questions, can the final position of the firearm and the victim be explained? Safety measures are essential in processing a crime scene. Latex or nitrile gloves. These gloves are used, of course, importance of protecting evidence because they keep the crime scene officer from leaving his own fingerprints behind. They also offer protection from blood and other hazardous substances at the scene, as well as cuts and liquids. More than one layer of gloves could be worn, and a layer of gloves could be removed when working with different pieces of evidence. Footwear. It is also important to protect the scene, which cover the safety shoes of the crime scene officer. Safety measures are essential in processing a crime scene. It continues. Depending on the situation of the crime scene officer may use eyeglasses, goggles, or a face shield. Why? To protect his eyes from chemical splash, fumes, or something bouncing into his eyes. Respiratory with proper filters for arson scenes and meth labs. Masks in cases where the air is filled is nauseous from decomposing body or hazard that makes it hard for your job. Crime scene. Arrival at the crime scene with ultimate task of the crime scene continues. Upon arrival at the crime scene, what is the immediate task of a crime scene officer is to determine additional investigative resources. It continues. The responsibility and first responding officer to the crime scene officer after following headings. The recording of information is to take control of the scene, secure and protect the crime scene, focusing on the immediate areas. The responsibility of the first responding officer to the crime scene under the following headings. Note everything from the treating of injured to apparent nature of the crime. It continues. Dealing with witnesses. It continues. Communication with others. Then we have the crime scene officer has many tasks. What must be recorded upon arrival of the crime scene? The time of arrival of the crime scene, very important. Purpose and consideration of the arrest. Arrest is one of the methods by which accused present secure court for the purpose. It continues. Arrest and a warrant of arrest. Procedures that govern the application for the issuing of a warrant. Procedures when govern application for issuing of warrant that the crime was committed first, that the crime was committed in the area of your jurisdiction of magistrate. Method of arrest. Then we have requirements of a lawful arrest. The arrest must be duly authorized. The person being arrested must be taken in custody physically. Requirements of a lawful arrest, it continue. The arrest person must be informed of the reason for his arrest. Then the requirement of a lawful arrest, the arrest must be taken to prescribed authority as soon as possible. Function of an investigating officer during a trial. Procedures when serving a subpoena is very easy. Physical appearance in court. Now, completion and writing of a case docket. The page 1, page 2, section A, page 4, section 4. In conclusion, some tips. Framework of the exam. Investigation requires that you know and understand all the concept techniques. One fact, one mark. Mark allocation, number your facts. Use the bullet points if need be. Avoid dumping relevant or irrelevant facts simultaneously. Markers, searching for the correct answer. Follow the instructions closely. Use your best handwriting. I wish you all the best for your preparation for the exam. Thank you very much.